Rich Rod be back on the hot seat after getting outcoached again as the Wildcats lose in the Foster Farms Bowl? Are college basketball hypologists getting duped into hyping up ASU as the best team in Arizona? And Governor Ducey is patting himself on the back, claiming in 2017 he's improved just about everything under the sun. Is he right? These stories and more next on the 520. Well, welcome to the 520. I'm Steve Nunez.
I'm Marty Mott of the Fourth. Thanks for joining us.
And devastated after last night's loss in the Foster Farms Bowl, but guess what? Today, I am chill. You know why?
Why?
Clash of the Titans, baby. Clash of the Titans. U of A, ASU. It's a basketball town. I'm thinking basketball, forget football.
You never cared
right?
about football.
I do care about football because I'll show you why. Coming up, Arizona quarterback Khalil Tate did all he could to will his Wildcats to a victory over Purdue in the Foster Farms Bowl. You cannot blame him. Tate lit it up. He had a career-high 302 yards in the air and threw 5 touchdowns, the most ever by a Wildcat QB in a bowl game. Tate led the Wildcats back from a 17-point deficit at halftime to a 3-point lead with 3 minutes to go in the game. Purdue then scored to go up by 3, but Tate's magic disappeared after he threw an interception. Not right there, that was a touchdown, but for just over a minute, threw that INT and left in the game, and that was all it for the Wildcats. And where do you start? Bad tackling, bad punting, or bad play calling by Coach Rich Rod?
We could start with bad tackling. Just for starters, I mean, that was just absolutely pathetic.
Missed the tackle in the beginning of the game, which led to a quick, easy score for Purdue.
And that's not even it. All it did was extend their drives. They throw a 2-little-yard scamper across the field. He breaks it for 5. It's all of a sudden first down. The drive keeps going. Tackling is just where it starts.
Let me ask you, how good is your leg? Because right now, we need to recruit a punter. How do you not punt the ball?
And it could be stemming from just some sort of schematic where he wanted it to ring this way, ring that way. Instead, it went the way it did, where he might have just been trying to set up some sort of field position. He wanted their defense to be on the side of the field. Disappointed, but not surprised.
Look, item number 1 on Rich Rod's coaching agenda should be to recruit someone who can kick the darn ball. All right, before halftime, Rich Rod claims that the ref came up to him and said that Purdue was going to take a knee. Therefore, he told his players, back off, don't rush. Turns out Purdue threw a trick play, 30 yards, scored a field goal to end the half. That 3 points was the difference in the game. Do you blame Rich Rod?
I don't. The way the defense reacted, that's how any defense in the country would have reacted.
Okay, so what happens when 2 boxers are getting separated by a ref? What's the golden rule of boxing?
Protect yourself at all times.
All right, on the field, what do? You don't take a down off.
And that's the thing, is it shouldn't have gone for 30. It did go for 30. I think it could have been limited to about 10 to 11, maybe even 12. I think it was a cheap shot. It was a completely cheap shot.
Cheap shot, but they won the game.
But they won the game.
Arizona finishes 7-6. Rich Rod loses, what, 4 of 5 games to end the season? Not good.
Not good at all.
Not good at all. All right, let's move on. Can the Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl really sell out Arizona Stadium? In just its 3rd year, Tucson's bowl game is getting some serious props for bringing tourists to town during the holidays and pumping in $30 million into the local economy. On the field, it'll be a battle between the Aggies. Utah State 7-5 versus 9-3 New Mexico State. It's also a homecoming for Tucson High's Austin Perkins, seen right there. And Sunnyside's Gwen Lopez, you're about to see him with the long hair. Both play for New Mexico State. There's Gwen Lopez. New Mexico State hasn't been to a bowl game since it last played in one against Utah State, go figure, 57 years ago, Artie. That game ended in controversy with a bad call that led to a victory for New Mexico State. So redemption is on the mind of Utah State. How do you see this game being played out?
New Mexico State has a gunslinger of a kid under center. Tyler Rogers always puts up 300 in the air, always attempting around 40 to 50 passes a game, which is unheard of. So Utah State's got to stay out of their man coverage, keep it in zone, keep everything in front of him, force this kid to actually dissect the defense, which is what he's not used to.
How unusual is this, though? We get two local former high school players playing in a bowl game in Tucson. How unique is that? And you played against Austin Perkins in high school.
Yeah, he was a son of a gun, if I do say so myself. Oh, my goodness.
Admit it, much faster than you.
Oh, of course. That's why I'm here and he's over there. Jeez.
Right?
But
it's all good.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see them, not only as a homecoming. I'm just excited to see anybody from Tucson in general and in athletics succeed. I mean, there's draft pick after draft pick in any sport at the Phoenix level, so anytime a Tucson athlete can do what he does best, I'm always happy to see that.
And I'm happy to see the fact that these kids are coming back and they're playing here, but more importantly, the family gets to see them in action at a big stadium like Arizona.
Agreed.
And basically, it's a big spotlight, especially here in Tucson, because we don't see too many football products come out of Tucson.
And when we do, they
play, you know, at a major college.
Of course,
So,
I agree.
Good for them. All right, well, he was fired, and now Todd Graham is fired up to coach ASU for the final time against North Carolina State in Friday's Sun Bowl right there in El Paso. The 7-5 Sun Devils will square off against the 8-4 Wolfpack. Despite getting fired, this is Graham's 5th bowl game in 6 seasons. Led the Sun Devils to a Sun Bowl victory in 2014, beating Duke 36-31. And a lot of people are asking this question: should he be coaching in this game? Or should he have just walked away and said, hey man, they fired me, I've been successful, forget y'all?
I very much respect him for sticking through it. What it's going to do is it's going to keep the kids motivated, keep the kids driven, because if he would have just took off and said, let bygones be bygones, he would have took a vacation in Europe. These kids.
Yeah, but don't you think the players are checked out right now? I mean, they're thinking Herm Edwards,
yeah,
you know, ESPN analysts coming in to coach us.
They're checked out to begin with, I would say. But what it's going to do is it's at least going to give ASU a bit of a short-term goal, which at the very least is beat North Carolina State.
How does he motivate his players, though, in a big game like this?
Well, he has to motivate the seniors, for one, the seniors that aren't going to be looking to play in the NFL next year. They'll be motivated by themselves. To motivate the underclassmen, he has to, you always want to find a short-term goal that is, like I said before, it's aside from that, where it's, hey, can you give me 3 first downs in this drive? Hey, can we put up 21 points in the first quarter? Hey, can we do X, Y, and Z?
But the Wolfpack they're no slouches, man.
Oh, goodness.
At one point this season, they were ranked number 14. Then they lost 3 of 5 games and dropped down. But they're a really good team.
Oh, they're a fantastic football program to begin with. So, in general, ASU, they're a fantastic team in short yardage situations. They do fantastic in the red zone. They got a heck of a wham play, heck of a dive play with the stacked tight end.
Prediction on the score?
I would think North Carolina State takes it. I would say 32-17 around
I think ASU wins this game. And here's what's interesting about this, really quick, a quick factoid to tell you about. If Graham wins this game and ASU wins this game, this will be his 4th season of the 6 seasons he's been at ASU where he's won 8 games or more. Think about that. And then think about the fact that he got fired.
That's definitely pitiful when you put it that way.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I call the Herm Edwards hiring the worst decision in college football this year.
One way to put it.
Well, it's the Final Four of college football. We'll find out who's in for a chance to play for the national title. And playing in the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl features number 3 Georgia against number 2 seed Oklahoma. Kickoff, as you see right there on your screen, is at 1 o'clock in this game. How do you see this one playing out?
Oh, well,
you're looking at the offensive machine of Oklahoma, the number 1 offense led by Heisman Trophy winner Baker Mayfield against the number 4 defense in the nation.
Oh, I think what Baker Mayfield isn't so used to and what he's going to see against the Dogs here on Saturday is they're high-flying pass rushers. They'll bring guys from this side, they'll cross them, they'll do stunts, and they're fast with those pass rushing. And what they do and have a fantastic habit of that Mayfield isn't used to is they locate the quarterback when they pass rush. They're not so focused on penetration. They locate them. They're going to bang them up. I say Dogs over the Sooners.
You look at defense, though. Defense always wins championships. What's your prediction?
I'd say the Dogs take it over the Sooners. I would put it in a short game if Mayfield can't get going 21-10, 21-17.
I agree with you. I think the Dogs win this because I think defense wins championships. More importantly, I never thought Baker Mayfield was a Heisman Trophy winner.
Neither did I.
Overrated. He plays in a good offense. He plays in a good league. But I do not think that he's the best player, and I think he's going to get put in check.
I agree.
All right, in the Sugar Bowl, check out this game right here. It's number 4, Alabama versus number 1 seed, Clemson Tigers. The Crimson Tide looking for redemption. Bama lost to Clemson in last year's title game. Kickoff on this one, January 1st. It's actually at 6:45 kickoff, not at 3 p.m. How do you see this game playing out?
I like the Tide over the Tigers. I do. I think their power run game is going to take advantage of the speedy DD defense. So I take the Tide.
Isn't it though so ironic? This is the trilogy, so to speak. The last 2 years, Alabama won, and then Clemson won, and now these two are clashing at it again.
I think the voters did that on purpose. That's why it's the night game.
And how do you think Nick Saban is going to be able to make these adjustments? Because Clemson, at one point this season, had the best defense in the country.
And that's exactly it. Is they're fast. They want to make contact as early as possible off the snap, and Alabama knows that. So what they're going to do is they're going to tuck everybody in. 2 tight ends, a fullback with Bo Scarborough. They're going to force these fast guys, these trigger-happy players, to let the play develop, to read the guards, and to be disciplined, which I think the Tigers, if they do get a hang of it, it's going to be at the end of the third quarter.
And quarterback Kelly Bryant has had a phenomenal year. He's no Deshaun Watson, who won the championship with Clemson last year, now plays for the Texans. But this kid is pretty darn awesome.
He's fantastic. I don't think he could take the NCAA by storm the way Watson did. I do think he's fantastic, and if they do win, it'll be because of him.
All right. I predict Clemson to be back in the national title game playing Georgia.
The Tide's a juggernaut. I got to go with the Tide.
All right, we're going to see who makes it to the final 2, the national title game. We'll be talking about that all next week.
Definitely.
All right, well, it's March Madness in December. For the first time in 22 years, Arizona and ASU will meet as ranked teams. So is it legit for the so-called college basketball hypologists who can't even find Tempe on Google Maps to pimp ASU as a hottest story of the year? Well, Bobby Hurley, the king of Dukies, has definitely turned his Sun Devils into media darlings. ASU is 12-0 and ranked number 3. The Wildcats are 10-3 and ranked 17th. Is ASU overhyped and about to get hype slapped by the Wildcats, a team that's been there before time and time again? Sean Miller weighed in on the hype train.
But, you know, number 3 in the nation, and, you know, I think somebody that can win the national championship, certainly a number 1 seed in the tournament. I think a heavy favorite to win our conference. I don't know if anybody maybe saw that coming, but that's what they've earned.
So, the game is Saturday. Showdown, baby. December 30th, tip-off. 7 p.m. at McHale Center. You got to give the Wildcats the advantage, the home court meal, the home court advantage, and a lot of fans. Talking about fans, we're hearing tickets are being sold on eBay for $1,000.
It's sold. That game sold out more than 2 weeks ago. That's insane.
It is definitely feeling like March Madness in December. I will say this though. The Pac-12 network, which we criticize so much because the Pac-12 network is horrible. But right now, analyst Don McLean, who played for UCLA, is calling this matchup the best game ever televised on the Pac-12 network. And that says a lot because Arizona in 2015 played, they were ranked number 10 and they played number 8 Utah. But that game has nothing or significance like this one.
And I tell you what, I think ASU takes this one. They're gonna face each other a lot in the rest of the season, but I think in the first one, I think ASU takes it. You got to admit though, fantastic on the perimeter. Their field goal percentage.
I'll give you
out
that
of this
because
world.
The guard combo Trey Holder and Shannon Evans are considered the best in the country. Okay, but 3 is greater than 2. Ayton, Elkins, Trier. I'll take this trio over the other two, and I guarantee you they will not be able to stop Arizona down below. And if they do, oh my goodness, I will buy you a Happy Meal.
I'll take it. I'll take the toy.
All right, well, let's jump right into Do We Care? And talk something other than sports. Governor Ducey is touting big claims to big accomplishments made in 2017. In our Year in Review edition, we're going to break it down and grade him as we see it. And you may not like it, but do we care? Well, the governor-in-chief claims Arizona's budget provided $223 million new dollars in funding K-12 education, which included teacher pay raises. So Artie, go ahead and slap a grade on him, man.
A flat C I would slap on him. Not a plus, not a minus.
That's kind of generous.
Very mediocre the way he handled it this year. And if I was going to give him anything, it wouldn't be too high, it wouldn't be too low. It would just be, you didn't mess things up too bad, you didn't do anything out of the ordinary.
I slap a D, maybe a D minus. Okay, just above an F plus. You know why? It's because Governor Ducey did not pour $223 million into education. We did, the taxpayers, by passing a half-cent sales tax. What he's done with the legislative budget was take funding away from education and use his half-cent sales tax to cover his butt for funding education. So it's a shell game. As a result, we deserve the credit. We get an A. Ducey gets D plus, maybe.
Well said, at the least, man. Governor Ducey takes credit for Arizona's so-called growing economy for adding 27,000 jobs in 2017, helping the state reach its lowest unemployment rate in a decade. A through F. How do you give him this one?
I think I'm going to give him, again, a D. And here's why. Okay, so he brought 27,000 jobs, and he's also touting the fact that he's lured and helped 80 companies grow to add more than 20,000 jobs to Arizona. But here's what's happening. It goes back to education. What kind of jobs is Arizona bringing? I mean, every time you turn around, we're adding 500 jobs here and there, call center jobs, but not 50,000 jobs. And look what happened with Amazon. They're not coming to Tucson. You know why? Because we don't have the education to support the technology and what they need to operate as a country, nor do we have the infrastructure. So it goes back to all of that. And education is key.
If I was going to grade him on just this topic alone, again, I'd give him about a D plus. Just being generous, primarily because I know there is a lack of knowledge in the high school education system for the college process itself. And these kids don't know how to go to college. They know the scholarships exist, they know that grants exist, loans exist, but they don't know how to get them. So what that does is it forces them to stay away from college for 4 to 5 years until they understand it, and they're staying here, forced to work whatever job they can, so it does nothing but bad stuff for the economy again.
The bottom line, though, is we're looking at TUSD suffering right now. The largest school district in southern Arizona is suffering. You know why? Because kids are leaving the district by the thousands. They're losing funding, and guess what's happening with our education? Bam. Well, we know the opioid epidemic is out of control. Governor Ducey claims his executive order declaring a state of emergency put more resources into the hands of police, firefighters, and paramedics to help save lives. Pass or fail?
I give him a failing grade on this one only because it's taking him this long to recognize it as a problem. This opioid epidemic has been going on for the last 5 to 10 years.
And it's only getting attention now.
It's only getting attention now because it's taking its course in privileged communities. It's taking its course at the university. These kids are doing anything they can to get their hands on it in general because of how it's glorified to the younger demographic. I give him a failing grade on this one.
I agree. I give him a F big time. You know why? Because all he's done is sign an executive order. Pen to paper. That's it. No hands on the ground, no boots on the ground, nothing that's really doing anything to stop the epidemic from spreading. Look, we had a rapper come into town, Little Peep. Nobody knew about Little Peep, okay? But what became the big story was not only Little Peep dying of an overdose from pills that he was popping, but the fact that there were so many young people involved with selling him those pills. What does that say about the epidemic? You can get your hands on them anywhere on the street. And signing an executive order does not do anything to stop the illegal sale of opioids.
I agree. Governor Ducey called untested rape kits an injustice long ignored. He allocated $1.2 million in his budget to test all remaining kits going forward. Does he make the grade on this one?
All right, this is the only issue or topic that I think Governor Ducey actually gets a passing grade, full passing grade. I'm going to give him a B. All right, here's why. Because at least he put $1.2 million into this to hire experts to test these rape kits. And you know what that's led to? 7 indictments. I will take that if we can find the jerks who do stuff like this, period. And I got to give them credit for it. But a lot more needs to be done. And this problem was inherited by Ducey from Governor Jan Brewer, who just turned a blind eye to it, and at least he's doing something about it. So for that, I will give him a B.
I can't give him, I'll give him another C. I can't give him too big of a passing grade because although he did inherit the problem, all we're seeing is a call to action on this. We haven't yet seen the results. He does a good job of putting the right personnel on them, making sure educated hands are looking into this issue. But all we're seeing is a call to action. We have not seen any results to see if it was actually worthwhile. So for now, I'll give him a C grade, just a middle binary type grade.
All right. Well, the Gov is giving his Border Strike Force team credit for seizing thousands of pounds of drugs and arresting over 2,000 traffickers and criminals in an effort to help secure our border. How do you grade them?
On this one, I'll give him a passing grade on this one, a B. Flat, no plus, no minus, a flat B.
Unbelievable.
A flat B, because like I said before, there was a call to action, an implementation of the action plan, and a decent amount of results. And there's so much more going on the border besides the drug problem, the drug trafficking issue, but at least there was a call to action and he followed through with it, which is what we like to see in all of our politicians.
Sorry, I give him an F on this one. You know why? Because F stands for facade. It was all a facade when he created it. It was a political year, an election year. He created the strike force team, and all of a sudden the numbers, they went from, oh, the Border Strike Force arrested 20,000 people, and then the next week in the media we get a new statistics, and it's 10,000, and then it's 15,000. Then you know what it is? Look, the strike force team is just there. It's a name. It's not an actual unit that's going out there fighting border problems or border crime. Okay, so when Border Patrol or any other agency makes an arrest, state troopers show up, okay, and they get to count those numbers. So I just look at this and I just laugh at it because it's not like we have boots on the ground who are state troopers right there on the border keeping people from coming across. It's not happening that way. So, F.
There we go.
Well, you've heard the phrase, oh, no, you didn't. Well, here at the 520, we're not afraid to tell it like it is with, oh, yes, we did. I'll get started. Well, when bowl game organizers say bowl games really aren't moneymakers, don't believe them. It's a lie. Some of the top fat cats organizing the bigger bowls are paid close to $1 million. Let me repeat that, $1 million a year just to put on a football show. Sponsors like Capital One pays up to $25 million a year to sponsor bowls like the Orange Bowl. TV rights pump in millions more. There's a reason there are now 40 bowl games played. They're moneymakers. And guess who gets pinched out of the deal? The student athlete. To add insult to injury, they're giving you gear as payoff so they can turn around and serve as walking billboards for the moneymakers. Now you know why there's so much corruption in college sports. Everyone has their hands in the cookie jar. If I were a top college athlete, I would want to eat the same cookies everyone else around me is eating. NCAA fat cats are nothing but big fat hypocrites.
Hey, you got to compare them to accounting professionals that only work in tax season. They work from January to April and then call it a day the rest of the year.
Then the NCAA has to decide what it's going to do. Pay the student athletes more or don't. Then we get corruption.
That's one way to put it. That's one way to put it. Up next, Mr. Rodriguez. Congratulations on not getting fired. We live to see another day. But let's all take a step back and remember what the year 2011 looked like at the University of Arizona. Lack of facilities, a subpar dual-side stadium, and the very finite brand personality that didn't stretch past Eastern Arizona. You wouldn't bat an eye if I told you they were in the Mountain West, but here they are in the Pac-12, and then comes a guy named Rich Rodriguez. New unis, new weight room, new coaches, a new program. We've seen the number 10 spot in the land all the way to a 3-9 season, so now, who are the Arizona Wildcats, and are they just using Rich Rodriguez for character development? Was he the Morpheus to our Neo? Was he the Ben Kenobi to our Luke Skywalker? In other words, was he just our platform to becoming a nationally competitive program, and now he has plateaued and we have nothing but good things waiting for us in the future? Mr. Rodriguez, the seat you're sitting in now is lukewarm, or the seat you were sitting in is lukewarm compared to the seat you're in now. Fantastic, good work on this season, but good luck to you in this offseason.
Well, he better be the peanut butter to the jelly because we need to start winning. Losing and ending the season at 7-6, okay, it's good. But look at how many games we lost to end the season with Khalil Tate. We have a potential Heisman Trophy winner. We have to utilize him better than we did in the Foster Farms Bowl, better than we did against ASU. We have to win games, period.
And here's the thing is the athletic department, the administrators, they're telling him that exactly right now. They're saying if you can't take a hold of this,
yeah, but think about this for a second. We only averaged 41,000 fans in Arizona Stadium. The fans demand more wins. Bottom line, we have a bowl game coming to town with two teams that aren't from Tucson that are probably going to draw just as many fans. And that is a problem. That's a problem. Something. He's got to win, period. Okay?
I agree.
All right. I'm glad he's staying, though, and he did not get fired. I like Rich Rod.
Like I said.
But I gotta criticize him this offseason. I gotta criticize him when it's due.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that does it for this week's 520. As you know, our goal is to tell it like it is because it's all about giving voice to opinions, even if you don't agree. I'm Steve Nunez.
I'm Marty Mata IV. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week on the 520.